Perfect. Look at that. Well, it is 3 o'clock, so let's let's do it. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Silicon Plains AI webinar series. Today, we're going to show you how to set up your own AI receptionist, and this is part of our technical difficulties here today. You're actually going to be able to hear it in action live. But before we get into that, we're going to do something a little bit different. So you'll notice at the bottom of your screen, we are actually running a poll right now that will directly decide not only my job security, but also next month's October topic for our webinar series. So vote there. As always, as we're going, if you guys have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A or raise your hand, and we'll try and answer them as we go. But with that, Dan, are we ready to get started?
We sure are. I don't know who your boss is, but he must be a real jerk.
Well, hey,
Always under the threat of being fired.
some things stay behind the scenes in the webinars, right? So
I think the trick today too is that I'm excited to see if we can pull it off. Is we're going to be setting up the receptionist from scratch, real time. So this can be compared to if you were going to do it for yourselves from zero.
yeah, absolutely. And as we kind of look at that here, one of the things we wanted to start with, because this is kind of the first time we're showing something that, while it is, kind of a cheaper technology, there is a little bit of cost to it. So a couple of the more popular options, if you will. The first one, this Vida.io, is actually the one we'll be showcasing today. That's $100 a month. Gives you one agent, 500 minutes of inbound calling, and then 500 outbound SMS messages, all part of that $100 a month. Second one, probably the most popular one, and the one that, of course, for the people who lay awake at night and are thinking about AI receptionists, probably the one that they've looked into the most. That's going to be SynthFlow for 375 a month. That's got 25 agents, 2,000 messages, but no outbound messages. And when it comes to use cases, Dan, we've got a few of them here, kind of basic ones that we'll start with. We're going to talk about a little bit towards the end, the appointment scheduler and the transfer agent. But the one we're going to be showcasing here is actually going to be the message taker. Anything else you want to toss on the end there, Dan?
Right. So the easiest way to demo this wasn't to do something live because we're using the free version. And if you pay for it, then it can actually make phone calls and transfer phone calls on your phone system. So we didn't get that far. We didn't pay for it. So what this is going to showcase is if Silicon Plains decided to turn on an AI after hours message taker.
Yeah, that's a very good point there. I mean, we're going to show here, for as impressive as it's going to be, important to remember that this is actually the free version, and there's a lot of additional goodies, of course, if you want to pay up for it. So what I've actually got pulled up on my screen right now is just the very basic template that will pop up when you go to create an AI.
You should share your
Uh,
screen.
am I not sharing my screen?
Here, I don't see it.
Oh,
I see live demo.
all right, definitely not the correct screen then.
Yeah, while you get that done, so this is something that we would typically use. It's not a product that we resell, and we're not getting anything by showing it to you. It's a few of them that Damien tracked down with the idea that they're super easy to set up, get up and running for your company. And this is a different way to use AI where you're still using what we've talked about in previous webinars, where you're kind of programming it using natural language by just typing away and telling it what you want and what you don't want it to do, what you do want it to do. And so it's a really low tech sort of way to start using artificial intelligence in your company without it being so Google based or Chat GPT based. Those tool sets are still being used in the background because these voice tools have access to it, but you don't have to deal with them. The companies that resell these products have simplified it down to the screen Damien's about to show you.
Yeah, that's a really good point here. We've not done any training on this whatsoever. The test was a one-time test that went pretty well, so we'll see what we do, but we're not putting in any kind of information other than what you're about to see on the screen here. So first things first, this is just the message taker template is what it's called. It's to showcase, like Dad had mentioned, what if we had an after hours AI receptionist, and that's exactly what this is. So we're going to go with English. We picked the best voice, the one that sounded the least well, like an AI receptionist, and Central Time. So what we'll kind of see here, this is everything we're putting into it. You can see I've already nearly scrolled down to the bottom, but first things first, company name, Silicon Plains. What is our website? I've got a little cheat sheet over here on the left, so you guys won't just watch me type here for the next little while, but put the website in there, and then you can see what should your agent say when it answers calls. This here is kind of the recommended. Thank you for calling Silicon Plains. How can I help you? We're gonna spruce that up a little bit with something that we've developed a little bit, just kind of mentioning that it is a digital receptionist, and of course mention that we do have text on call in case of emergency, so we
And
are able to transfer
yeah,
that
and
over
let me
there.
yeah, and let me jump in on some of this. So while you're typing in maybe some of those questions and information collection, we can come back to it while I'm jibber jabbering. Uh, the some of the questions. So I sometimes answer real obvious questions because I get lost on the obvious things because you look at new products and you can't tell the actual basic thing that it does. So you do go to a website, you do purchase this with a company credit card, and once you have it, you don't need to change your phone number. Your business telephone number can route into this, and this is where you need technologists to help you with that part of it, or maybe the company that helps you with your telephones. So the call will route into this thing. It will take the call and then send the call back out to your regular telephones, cell phones, or email addresses. So you do buy this from them, and then you do have to do a little bit extra work to make it run with your telephone number.
Yeah, and you can see that here. They'll include that at the bottom of the screen here, which telephone number you want it to transfer to. Because we're playing with the free version, we want to put something out there that everybody could access right after this call, right? If they wanted to. There are a couple of, limitations to how much information we gave it, and definitely how much you want to give it. So, next part down here, we're just talking about questions, very basic questions. Name of your business. Is there an emergency? Are you a customer? First and last. This can be absolutely anything you want it to be, but for the purposes of this, we wanted to keep it really simple and kind of show you how well it will collect that data. Email address, don't spam me after this, but I will reluctantly put my email in there. What's really neat about what this agent does and how it works is it will actually collect all of this information on the call and then send me an email, and that can go to whatever email address. So if you have a on-call person, it can go to them. If you have a sales email, it can go there. But it will itemize out every question it asks and the answers in exactly this format. So it's a really great way to kind of organize data too. So for the sake of this, we're going to put yes, enable transfers. It's not included in the free kind of version of this that we're showing. For transfer conditions, we're just going to put in there if there's an emergency, right? I'll put a phone number in here. And then now the important thing to remember as we're talking about training these, Dan, the only information we've given it that is actually Silicon Plains based information so far is the website URL. And
Right.
the only other information we're going to give it is
So
just, oh, sorry.
yeah, some really basic stuff. So think about it like this. With now is this part where this is where we're using artificial intelligence to make this thing work the way that we want. Instead of having to go through programming and say, they have to press one for this and two for that in order to get the information. Sometimes it listens to you and it's not very good at it because voice recognition is not that great in those old crappy receptionist systems. This one's going to talk to the person on the phone, like you've heard and probably experienced ChatGPT and other large language model systems where they have the ability to talk back to you and they sound pretty humanistic. So this one can do that, but you can also give it data to use. So if your business has people calling, maybe it's after hours, or they tend to want the same information when they do call in generally, you can program this and give it the information so that it can talk through that data with that person. So examples of that for Silicon Plains, which maybe they're not the greatest examples, but they're functional, they would work, is we could give this system basic troubleshooting to guide someone through and it would do it on its own. We could say in this box, guide someone through basic PC troubleshooting based on the documents I'm going to upload. And it would use that document, maybe it's reboot 3 times and hold your tongue the right way and unplug it, replug it back in, and then give up. We'd be able to tell it whatever we want. Um, but we can program it with that data, and the receptionist becomes smarter. And the programming is as simple as uploading the document and having that kind of chat GPT experience telling it, I want you to use this document in this particular way.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of those specific use cases here right after we show the test. But it's important to remember we've got this set up in like 4 minutes, and you'll be able to see it in action here
Yeah,
in
we're
just a
ready to
second.
go.
So, yeah, we'll get it tested right now. So you can see that's it. That's the entirety of the setup. So now let's test it, and you all should be able to hear this. Dan, give me a thumbs down if not, but
Okay.
we'll give it a shot.
Thank you for calling Silicon Plains. I'm Asteria, the after-hours digital receptionist. We do have real people on call, so if I can't help you, I'll send your message to their cell phone, and if you're experiencing a business technology emergency, they'll call you ASAP and work to get you back up and running smoothly. Can I start with your business name?
Yeah, I'm calling with Eighth National Bank of Bismarck.
Thanks. Are you a current customer of Silicon Plains?
Yes, I am.
Great. Is this call about a technology emergency?
Yes, it is. My computers just aren't seeming to turn on.
Understood. Can I get your first and last name, please?
My first name is Damien, last name Esslinger.
Thank you, Damian Esslinger. What is the best phone number for the on-call technician to reach you?
They can call me at 701-390-9876. And how long do you think that will take?
Thanks. Service technicians typically respond within 10 minutes to an after-hours emergency. Is there anything else you'd like me to add to your message?
No, that should be it.
Got it. I'll send your message to the on-call technician right away. Thank you for calling, Damian. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye. Well, Dan, what'd you think? Not half bad. It was actually a little bit choppier than it had been previously. So that's
Yeah, it's
actually pretty good.
probably the sound sharing over Zoom or something like that because we're sharing it with everybody, but it worked. And that's the $100 a month version of what you can do with a digital receptionist. And part of this webinar series is to show that it's not just can I chat and get a Google response using artificial intelligence. It's how much technology has changed so that an average person at an average company can go set up a receptionist within a few minutes.
Yeah, and I think when we're going to talk about some more specific use cases here right now, but what we just showed was one very specific use case without giving any troubleshooting guides, internal data, ability to ask questions. We didn't even give it access to like what's the on-call technician's name, right? I mean, the limits to this are applicable to any part of any business, and I mean, you're really limited just by imagination. Kind of building on a little bit what we just heard, things that other purposes that you could turn this AI receptionist into. Kind of the first one, Dan, that you talked a little bit earlier, is just troubleshooting and what that can look like when you give it access to internal documents. But another thing that we've talked about before is, I mean, automating a phone tree. I mean, there's really not a lot of limitations on this, is there, when it comes to something like that?
Yeah, everybody hates phone trees. And instead of having to punch numbers in a phone tree and wait for the robot to talk to you, this is one where you can turn it into a conversation and get the person to the right place without there being that depth of press one, press two, press three garbage.
Yeah, one of the things that's really cool about this actually is if you give it this information, this AI receptionist is able to uh, transition that from call transferring to appointment scheduling and be able to say, just as an example, let's say you're a large real estate company in the area, right? You can give it internal data to be able to say, this is the area we want to work in. This is how we typically manage our call queues. So we can do kind of a first come, first serve, or we're able to drill down all the way to multiple location companies being able to call
Right.
one unified phone number that spits it out accurately 100% of the time. So there's not a lot of limitations to it.
Yeah, there's a skill set here that comes into play that I think everybody needs to think about. And it's when you call into a company right now, let's say they want to talk to a particular person and a digital or, an AI-based receptionist answers the phone. The scheduling capabilities, as long as you're all using Outlook or Google Calendar, means that it can have a conversation with the person calling. They say, I really want to talk to Damien. Can he call me back? And if the receptionist has been given the ability, been told, yeah, you can schedule things, it can dip into Damien's calendar, look at when he has available times and say, why don't I have him call you back at 3? Then put the event on Damien's calendar and let you know that he'll be calling back at 3, all without interacting with a person and all because you gave it not only the skills, but you gave it the authority to make those decisions while it's on the phone with someone.
Yeah, and what's really kind of unique to it is maybe in the same way you would train a personal, a human receptionist. You can disapprove information, private information from getting out. For example, we don't put Dan's cell phone number on the webinars like we do the marketing coordinators, right?
That's handy
So
for
there
Dan.
are there are things like that you can disallow from getting out there in the same way that you would, a regular receptionist. So it is not like we talked about with all of these webinars, it is not about plastering your business's critical information into AI systems. It's about selectively training them up to be able to do what you want them to do.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. Well, that kind of wraps up this demo part. We're going to open it up for Q&A now. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat, raise the hand, use the Q&A function. But until then, and stick around because you're going to be able to test this AI agent yourself after the Q&A if you want. So make sure you stick around for that limited access through our free trial that is only available on this webinar. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. But Dan, first question we've got, we had talked briefly about real estate as a great place to be able to use this to as a really
Sure.
fully automated queue system. What other industries are there that you can think of where you would say this would be a perfect fit? And I can go first and answer the question first to give you a second to think about it since I'm springing these on you. Did not run them by you beforehand. One of the biggest use cases we see for tools like this is in the logistics community, right? So you see all the time, you're talking about a core set of data, load size, what kind of trailer you need, destinations, where are they going, right? You're able to quickly get a lot of that repetitive, easy to input data from a tree like this completely automated. And Dan, now that I've given you all of 30 seconds, would you like care to add to that?
I sure appreciate the 30 seconds. I'm getting old, Damien. So I think what the point in putting this in front of everybody isn't so much this is your option. So you should look at just what this has available to you and see if it fits into your company. Maybe every one of your clients absolutely hates the idea of a digital receptionist. What it was meant to do today was show you how AI is being integrated into things that in order to make them at least functional. Maybe you still hate the idea of these receptionist things or someone other than a real human being answering the phone. But there might be good options for clients out there where for those businesses, those clients would be better served having something like this available to them with better access to the interior of the business, so to speak. As an example, there are digital receptionists that can chat with your employees via Teams in the background while it's on the phone with someone talking through something. And so if they call in and say, I need to talk to so and so, or I've got a problem with a particular, service that you provided to me, or what have you, it can be chatting back and forth with people saying, I have someone on the phone, I've got a question, I'm not sure how to handle this call, is something that the AI receptionist can do, just like a person would ask. And so it's not that the possibilities with this are endless. It's that it requires that we start thinking about things a little bit differently when we can sort of start hiring a little bit of intelligence behind something as rudimentary as a phone system. I think the idea that it can touch different parts of the business as long as it's allowed should really open people's minds up to how could we do a better job and make our competitors look stupid and maybe even lower our prices if we had the ability to integrate AI into different parts of our business where right now it's either a pain in the butt or it's repeatable and nobody wants to do it, or the services just aren't that great. For Silicon Plains, when people call in on the phone, it's just not that great. I wish it was so great, but it's just not because people are typically on the phone already. And so they call in and the answer they get fairly often, disappointingly, is, I'm sorry, so-and-so is already on the phone. Well, if we had better options available to them on the phone, maybe it's not the greatest in the world. Maybe we need to hire 10 more people to see if we can make that work. I don't know. But if they had the ability to put something on so-and-so's schedule and knew at 3 o'clock they were going to get a call back, now I'm providing a better service.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. And we had talked about that uh, a little bit in one of those earlier in one of the earlier kind of segments of this, but you can use it to supplement, existing roles as well. I mean, the ability to have an additional agent, so it's $100 a month to get set up. An additional agent's $30 a month. So I mean, you could even break them out and specialize them by department. But moving on to the next question here, Dan, we did get one in the Q&A here, and the question is, where does the AI get the time to respond after hours? Or things like that, and is there information that they queue from?
Yeah, so I don't follow what you mean by get the time to respond after. Oh, like what times should it respond after hours? So that would be working with your phone company. I think I'm understanding your question. So your phone company are the people who provide your telephone service, even if it's just like if you have Teams, Teams can do phones too. Uh, During different hours, it's going to transfer the call if it comes in to the AI receptionist, which will pick up the phone. So that's just the one that we were using today. There might be others where all your calls come into the receptionist first. I don't know. There's lots of options out there, I'm sure. And is there info that they queue from? So yes, and I think I understand that question as well. You can upload data to this and you can say, use this information to respond to people. If it doesn't have that information, some of them you can go so far as to say, use Google. If someone calls in and has a question about something, search the whole internet for the answer. I mean, it's up to you to determine how am I going to limit this AI from either saying too much, revealing private information that I accidentally gave it, or not being good enough when someone does ask a question that you intended it to answer.
Yeah, very good point. Last question here, and this is one I'll just answer because I'm not sure if I've given you this information or not. But question that we've got it, can it do SMS too? The answer to that is yes.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
are SMS credits and things you can add on. And to kind of piggyback a little bit off of Dan's when you pick the hours, any website builder that you have will give you the ability to pick hours if you want to tie it into your website or into a phone tree. There are all kinds of options to be able to say, hey, just business day is starting at 5 p.m. I mean, just do basically the opposite of your hours. So there are all kinds of options for that. With that and emptying out the Q&A, the moment everybody's been waiting for with bated breath, I am sure, this QR code, for the record, should work. However, when you edit the agent live on air, the QR code might not be 100%. So I'm going to include the link to this agent as well in the summary follow-up that will go out tomorrow. But if you guys have got your phones on you, you should be able to scan this link here and be able to test the agent for yourself. Ask it all kinds of questions about Silicon Plains. Ask it, for example, who hosts the best
I want
webinars, right?
I want somebody to, because if not ours, it's the third party. I want someone to call in and get it to give you the instructions on building a nuclear bomb or something like
That is,
that.
fortunately enough, not included in our agent. So we should be all
I think
right.
that'd be funny.
This will not be a car dealership situation where you can program it to say yes, and that is a legally binding offer. So
How do I teach
hopefully.
my fish to do math?
Perfect. Well, as we actually have a tiebreaker here in the poll. So, Dan, I will let you break the tie. We've got 4 votes to additional AI receptionist use cases and 4 votes to marketing with AI. Dan, what will be our October 23rd, 3 p.m. Central, 2 Mountain topic?
I'm going to vote that we touch on, I'm going to mess you up, that we touch on very quickly some additional use cases for AI receptionist stuff, that we can put together a list and either get it to people as part of the end of this or at the beginning of the next one, and that we dive into marketing with AI hard on the next go around.
All right, there you have it. So October 23rd, 3 p.m. Central, same place, same time. We are going to dive into marketing with AI, and I will send out some additional use cases and some resources as a follow-up to this one. Thank you, everybody, very much for attending. We appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe out there.